Okay, so we do have a quorum. All right, first thing on the agenda was to confirm the dates and times for our meetings going forward. I just want to make sure that the second Tuesday of the month at 11:30 is still good.
Tuesday or Thursday?
Tuesday, Thursday, we have Thursday on the agenda. I can't remember.
You mean Thursday, but you said Tuesday.
Okay, I meant to say. Tuesday.
Okay, so it is
Sorry about
Thursday,
that.
just check.
Thursday, yes, thank you.
Sure.
Okay, I again just wanted to confirm that. Technically, Mary is public. Do you have any public comments, Mary, at this point?
No, just good to see everyone.
Okay.
And Gary tried to persuade me not to join the committee, but he was not effective, so here I am.
I wouldn't say I was trying not to have her join. I was just being honest with some of the frustrations that we have. Okay. Again, just to kind of review the main issues that I wanted to get confirmation on from Rick, and I'll send these to him again and ask for his update. Again, the steps at Mumford's Landing in the yacht club pool. Last year, we had several times that we suggested that they do something, either replacing the steps with plastic ones or putting a non-slip tape on them. They did try the non-slip tape. They took the ladder out, dried it off, put the tape on, and then put it right back in the water. And apparently there needs to be a curing time for the tape. So we were told that that would be done over the winter. So we were just kind of following up to make sure that gets done because there were a lot of complaints about that. We had also talked about the ladders getting out of the Mumford's Landing pool. The steps are built into the wall, and to pull yourself up on just the handrail is it's a lot of upper body strength. And, since we are an older community, we have a lot of people that have problems with that. In fact, even some of the kids have problems with that. So we had talked about having them take those out and put a full pool ladder in, and there was comments that they would look into that, but we never got a full yes or no.
How would you take out the steps if it's built into the
Well,
pool?
you wouldn't.
You want
You
to put a ladder down.
you just
put it
take
in front
the
of it.
handle out and put a full new ladder.
I mean, even if they just did one of those ladders, it
Yeah.
would be helpful because otherwise you have to go under the rope to get to the steps where all the kids are anyway, so it's hard,
Right. We also had a number of suggestions about maintenance, primarily at the beach club, but also at Swim and Racket. And at Swim and Racket, we were primarily looking at the bathrooms and the lack of safety rails and things like that, both in the toilets and in the shower. We were told that would be taken care of. And I'm kind of jumping around here. At the beach club, in addition to the bathrooms, which had been updated, there's an issue with people using them that aren't pool members, just people from the public using them. And what had happened is OP decided to put a bathroom attendant, I guess, so that anybody going in, you had to go past them to get an okay to use the restroom and come back out. When that person wasn't there, apparently there was a camera above the door that people could look at and say, hey, I need to go in, and somebody upstairs. None of that really was working well. So still waiting to see about that.
Swipe card, I mean.
It would solve so many
It's
issues.
not
at
rocket
every
science
pool, right,
anymore.
right.
Right.
I just don't get it. Or even I saw something, the racket club, made the same suggestion for their entry, a swipe
Yeah,
card. I just don't understand.
yeah, but you have to go into the office to swipe in.
Well, I guess when they do the renovations, there's talk of a kiosk being outside and that the swipe would move,
Right.
there, but either way, I mean, like I said, swiping was just not rocket science anymore. They're everywhere. And I don't understand why we just can't use one, for a quick, so the lines aren't so long at the
Right.
pool and so you can get into the bathroom.
Well,
I'm
you
just
don't
not
really even
understanding.
need a card anymore. You can just, when you purchase your membership, you're assigned a QR code and you just put your phone up against it.
You could do that
Which
too.
is,
Yes.
this way you don't need you don't need to worry about digging in your bag
Right.
for a
Because
card.
everybody's got their phone.
Everybody's got their phones and if you can't, click
Yeah.
on it and put it there, then there's another problem, right? Yeah, that would definitely speed things up. Yep.
Yeah. And
And it would
Or-
take care of this whole situation with the bathrooms. And furthermore, you'd save the cost of an attendant, and not just one attendant, it's probably two, because it's open 7 days a
Right.
week, more than 8 hours a day. And so you have at least two people who work there, I'm sure. So now you're saving two salaries,
Right.
except, I don't know, maybe they need them for, cleaning up the
That makes so
bathroom.
much sense.
well, we will work on that as an additional suggestion when we send a new one over to the board. At swim and racket, again, the primary issue was bathrooms, but we were also talking about the sidewalk that goes from the front
Yeah,
down to the parking lot. John Viola had said that was going to be taken care of over the winter.
okay.
So again, just kind of following up with that with Rick. The other issue that we had when I took all the pictures over at the beach club, we were talking about all of the maintenance on the building. Rick had told us that was really not our purview and that we didn't need to be making recommendations about the buildings. And I sent him a follow-up to that saying that our interpretation of the bylaws was that the term facility, when they're talking about the pool facilities, we interpret it to mean the buildings that are there supporting the pools. And we asked for confirmation from the board on whether that was a correct interpretation or not. And I never heard anything back. So I'd really like to get a final decision on that so that we know going forward, should we be looking at all of the issues at both the beach club and some of the other pools relating to the buildings and the grounds and all of that, or should we just be looking at the pool and memberships?
Well, our
So-
thing says facility. Other than the buildings, there is no other facility. They didn't get back to you. Why don't we just proceed as usual? I'd rather, I'd rather ask for forgiveness than for permission. Because if they come back at you and say, we told you, well, hey, we asked you to then provide, you
Well,
didn't
that's-
answer, so,
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
so we can go ahead that way.
yeah.
That's a good point. The aquatics classes. We again had suggested that we have an evening class at Mumford's Landing after the pool closes. And we didn't really get much response back from that, other than it was not something that Michelle was backing for whatever reason, and there was also apparently still some concern about the cost. Although when the classes were held prior to pandemic, there were so many people that signed up for the class that the fees more than paid, pardon me, more than paid for the lifeguard and the instructor. So that really isn't an issue. We could at least offer a class, and if there was not enough response, cancel it so that there isn't an expenditure.
Right, you know.
But we should at least put it out there. So I'm
So
going to go.
that limit of people that signed up and.
Right.
The one difficulty with that is that, especially in the summer, a lot of people don't want to pay the class fee. They want to pay the drop-in rate because they know they're not going to make it every single time.
Mhm.
And I know from the class I was taking over the indoor pool, our drop-ins were way outnumbering the people who actually signed up.
Right.
And yet the class was always packed.
Mhm.
So it's a tough one for aquatics, the department, I mean, to
Right.
figure out, like, well, do we take a chance and offer this class, even though we only have, I think 8 is the magic number,
Right.
8 people who have signed up for the class, you know, as a class, or do we presume there'll be drop-ins and that will cover the costs? By the way, we have somebody, new.
Drop-ins, scheduled to be $12
For, yeah,
and $10 for the kids. For membership.
Spotlight for
it's usually, I don't know, I haven't looked at the budget. It's usually less if you have a swim membership. I think it was $1 or $2 less if you had a swim membership
I think to start, they
per
can do,
drop-in.
yeah, I think to start, they can do a quick analysis of what percentage of guests over a period of time are drop-in versus sign up,
Mhm.
and then factor that in. And try it and see if that works. That's what I would do. I would just do an analysis, and if it's, 5% of the total attendees are usually drop-ins. So if you're going into the class with 6 and you're gonna have 5%, this is probably what you'll end up with.
No, I totally agree with you, but that's getting into operations and that's up to Michelle to
Right, right.
decide. But yes, that makes perfectly good sense. Again, especially if you took your most popular class at the indoor
Yep.
pool and move it over to the outdoor pool in the evening, I think you'd be on really strong footing.
Yeah.
But I get where they're a little hesitant, perhaps, because people tend to want to do the drop in. There's not enough of truthfully, if you miss 2 classes, it's worth it for you to do drop in versus
drop-in.
paying for the whole class.
So do we have access to, prior to COVID, a year or two prior, as to the profitability of, the usage of those classes, that we can show them numbers?
I
No,
doubt
you
it.
don't.
They wouldn't break it out by class.
I mean, I can certainly ask, but I suspect no.
This data would be collecting this type of data would be extremely useful, not just for aquatics, for all the amenities.
Right.
So there's a way to go there,
Yeah,
but it's nobody's job.
Well, it's, if the manager has reason to look into it, it's up to the manager of the department. And
They already have their plate so full that.
Yes,
They don't seem
yeah.
to be.
right.
right, I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from them. I'm just saying, like, that's whose responsibility ultimately it is, and they have to have enough bandwidth and interest in getting that data to do it.
I feel like that's their lane, really. The directors of this.
Well, it's really hard because when we present something, if we're not presenting the data behind it, it's very easy for them to say no.
Right.
Because, we're just going on what requests we have, which are intangible. So if there's a way when we present things to get more tangible, like for example, the responses from the question, I would have a look at what percentage of the responses asked for evening hours. What percentage, you know what I mean?
Well, and actually, was going to be my next comment. The survey, and I don't have the complete up to date with me, but the survey was interesting in that there were a lot of comments about people wanting evening classes because those that work are able to get there during the day. And there were a lot of questions about why can't the pool stay open later because people that work don't get to use the pool. And there were also a lot of comments. In fact, the one that got the most comments was repairs, replace, rehab, whatever you want to
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
the beach
The
club.
beach club, yeah.
No, that got the most. So those are things that over the next week or two, I'm going to send out more information on the survey so that we can try to put something together that shows that these recommendations aren't just coming out of our imagination.
Mhm.
You know, that we're actually repeating and just responding to people that have been talking to us. So
I think, we did that and, there was a survey not last year, but the year before. And we cited data from the survey to justify what we were requesting.
Right. So I will get that information out to everybody so that
Yeah.
we've got all that.
Yeah.
New topics.
Okay.
With Mary joining us, assuming she gets approved, and there's any reason why she shouldn't. We will have a total of 7 on the committee. I think that's adequate for what we do. So unless you all think we need more, I'm gonna let Linda know to take the Aquatics Committee off of the list that needs more members. But I'm going to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, I think that's adequate. I think it's adequate if everybody that comes and participates.
Yeah, well, we do have a couple on occasion that can't show up for one reason or another.
Correct.
The problem with adding additional though is that we need more people to show up to get a
To
quorum.
get more.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
You know, right now we've got a quorum without Mary, and we even have a quorum with Mary. 4 of us here, a total of 7.
Mhm.
Yeah, right.
A quorum, so,
Yep, that's a good point.
okay. All right. Contact about that. That's kind of all the highlights that I had. Again, going forward, I'm going to send the information on the survey out and let you guys see some of the actual comments so that,
I think you sent them.
Yeah, we've got them.
yeah, but I don't know if that was the total because we've now got over 1,000.
Oh, then it's not, because what you sent, there were 66 respondents, 11.5%,
Right,
22 or 35% responded, mentioned improving the beach club. 7% wanted the pools open later. So those percentages will probably change.
yeah.
Yeah.
And just as a side comment, one of the other comments that were in with all the pool comments were people want a fitness center, gym, something like that, and they'd like it to be, most of them said of the indoor pool, which kind of goes back to what we had talked about, expanding the pool.
Makes sense. It can become like a whole spa experience when you think
Yeah.
about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess they have room. They can expand.
They've got it.
Okay, on another note, I don't know if you saw the budget meetings videos, but, yeah. Debbie Donahue was asked, what do you want, Debbie? What do you need over there? Well, she needs a new building. So maybe if they don't want to put it there, put it in the new building.
Who's Debbie Downey?
She's
She's
Park and Rec student.
Okay.
So that was just,
That's interesting.
yeah, so that's, okay, after the fire department and after,
Yeah, I think the fire.
So 10 years
department's gonna eat a
down the
lot
road,
of
maybe.
budget.
yeah, but he got out there. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen, we've owned since 2005. And I think I've seen the request for a fitness center
Oh, yeah.
every single year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And never has the board wanted to go in that direction.
I wonder why.
I think it's,
It's a possible, you know, moneymaker.
it is, you
Oh,
know,
it is, absolutely. I
It
mean,
is.
you look over at Bayside,
most HOAs do have a fitness center
Right.
really, but
And from an insurance, from a liability perspective, it's no different than the pools.
yeah,
So,
it just
Gary,
doesn't.
may I ask a question?
Sure.
Why aren't they supportive of it? Because you can make a lot of money off of fitness centers. I'm just saying,
that's the
it's
million
curious to
dollar
me too. Because I've been here a year and it's like, I was curious too,
yeah.
I don't know. It's just,
you
it's,
know?
like I said, we've owned since 2005. We weren't full timers that long, but I feel like since the day we moved in, we've been hearing this, that people would love to have a fitness center here. And it's just, I've never seen the board take it up ever. And yet every year I hear people talking about it, we'd love to have a fitness center.
Well, I think I mean, not to jump in, but one of you touched on the fact that we do have some tend to have a little bit older population. I think when we were talking about the ladder that's needed over at Mumford's, I wonder, well, I know funding's always the issue. I get that. But I wonder if there would be any possibility of partnering with a healthcare institution of some sort. I know in the Baltimore area there are workout centers that are actually sponsored by hospitals and things. I don't know. Just toss it out. I know.
That's actually
That's
not a bad
really
idea.
interesting.
Well,
Yeah.
and if you look at Tidal Health's building right here at the
Mhm.
north entrance, they do have a gym
A little one, yeah.
in there. It's a small one and is primarily for people that have gone through rehab. But sort of the same idea. If we could get AGH or somebody to partner with us, that might be worth doing. Where we could also look into, there's, well, the two gyms that, one is over off of Old Ocean City Boulevard, the other one is down in West Ocean City. They might be interested in manning the facility or something like that, but that's worth looking into. Thank you,
Yeah,
Mary.
yeah, I sports for a pool. Can they put more parking there too? That would be a question.
You would need that. If
You would put that, there's plenty of land there and it's not. It's a really great idea. Community would love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you partner with Tidal Health or you partner with another gym, another fitness company, it would be something that we wouldn't have to do a dual membership. In other words, people from Berlin could come if they want, they would pay the same fees that we pay. In other words, it's just on our property,
Right.
but at least it's so much, it's so nice, it's so accessible to the folks in Ocean Pines. You've got 8,000 homes here, so over. So you gotta set populate. It's a nice idea. It really is. And then if you tie it in with the pool, with the indoor pool, it's just like, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
All kinds of fitness.
Well, I think that's something we need to look into more, and moving forward. The other interesting thing, on the survey, and again, I'm going to get that out to everybody, was how many comments there are about either raising the rate for non-residents for all the pools or lowering the cost for residents or both. There were a number of comments about putting an adult pool in, which is never going to happen.
Not-
A lot of comments about the fact that the pools get overly crowded because we open them to non-residents. And you can even do walk-ins. And that's something I want to kind of review again. I know that at the budget, there was talk about increasing the rates on a number of the amenities.
Did you see the swim rates?
I did not.
Here they are. It's dropping.
Okay, so drop in for pool. Oh, that's tennis. Oh, I'm sorry. Daily non-resident.
Daily residents and owners, daily non-residents. Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong line.
And still, non-residents, 17 and 15, I think that's,
I did this for you too.
Well, as we said at meetings last year, I brought this up. They don't check the cards when they go into the pools. And so if somebody says, oh yeah, I live on 200 Ocean Parkway, or I'm renting in 200 Ocean Parkway, oh, okay, they get the resident rate. So even though we've asked the aquatics department before, how many non-residents are really using their pool? Oh, the number's so low. We don't really know if it is,
Right.
because we have no way of really, nobody really checks.
Yeah. And it would be nice to have that number. So when we do have people talk to us about it, we can say, I hear you and I understand how you can have that perception. In the
But-
reality
Yeah,
is.
But we don't really know the reality,
Right.
because we know for a fact that people just make an address up and say, oh yeah, I'm renting over it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And so it comes back to the swipe cards again. If members got in using their swipe card, then non-association members would not be able to continue this.
Right.
And then, and prove us wrong. We're saying, in other words, prove the association members wrong. So we have this perception, just you said,
Right.
that there's all these, non-OP residents who are getting in and they're, filling up the pool. Well, okay, let's see. And we'll never know unless, we really start checking cards every single time, every single weekend. Nobody wants to do it because it makes the lines long. So again, I come back to, well, how about we do a swipe?
Yeah, for that. And then this way, they're going this way.
Right.
And then you're just dealing with the ones that don't.
And this, have two entries. Members here, non-association members here, swipe your card, you walk in.
Question. So if you come and you bring children with you for a drop-in, 5 and under is no charge.
Yes, it
where
used to
had
be.
been.
It used to be 5 and under.
Yeah, so, but that can be unlimited kids.
Yes,
And that's a problem too,
Right.
in my mind.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it
It
looks like,
doesn't address capacity and wear and tear. The way we put our packages together and price things, it doesn't, you have to look at what is the capacity of the pool and what is the wear and tear. So if you've got a family, or a household that has 7 people versus a household that has 2 people or 3 people, there's a huge difference in capacity and wear and tear. So it should be all priced accordingly. It's like if you want to go into a movie theater, it's priced based on how many people you have going in because you're taking up a seat. And so I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand why we don't do that. Because people that have a small household, they shouldn't be paying the same amount as those that have a larger household.
I think that's why they want, well, we put that down as a justification for the dual two-member household rate. Of course, they made it a couple's rate. I don't understand that at
Right.
all, but whatever. It's, it was a recognition, I think, maybe of that. And now, the other amenities are, people are saying who use other amenities, well, how come aquatics gets a couple's rate and we don't?
Yeah.
And it kind of comes back to, maybe they need to look at all the amenities and sort of make a decision.
Consistent.
Let's be consistent. So for instance, you go to play golf, you've got to show your card in order to get the association member rate. So how come golf has to do it, but nobody else does?
Mhm.
And I don't know the answer to that. And we pursued that in our last proposal and it was not acted upon.
So, but, going back to the children, I have nothing against children, of course. But I've heard, or people have said that, somebody will come in with a large group of children that's like part of a camp or part of a this, part of
Daycare,
that.
maybe, daycare mom.
Yeah, so now they're, like using facilities, like you said.
Yeah.
And they're,
Capacity and wear and tear.
yes, and so, and also, I don't recall, but I've heard that around other places that they do charge for children. For dropping.
Yeah,
Little children, I mean, of course, not babies.
Right.
So, consistency, I think that's what.
Mhm.
I think once I get all the information out on the survey, if everybody can kind of send me comments on what your overall impression is and let us know what we are to be working on. We've got kind of a small list here, but I think we've talked about a number of good things. So,
Well, I just think everybody should pat themselves on the back because when you look at those responses, we've already
Yeah,
requested or addressed.
Right.
Most of those, just, I think all of them. don't think we saw one that we hadn't discussed. So as I said to Gary before, we've got our finger on the pulse of what what the community wants. So we should feel good about that. But where there seems to be the divide is not getting either responses or reasons, you know what I mean? Not being able to move things forward, and that we just haven't been able to fix that problem. There's still the 2 years I've been here, we haven't gotten any closer together. And so we're going to continue listening to the people coming up, reporting that our job is to let the board know what their requests are or issues that we're made aware of. But nothing's going to change.
well, what I'm hopeful of is the fact that we've now got a survey where people are responding without being prompted
Right.
about, pools in particular. It's a very general question. What would you like to see changed?
Yeah.
And I think in our next report to the board, we'll have statistics to actually back up some of what we've been recommending.
Yeah, I just, there's not blaming the board, not blaming us, but there's a communication
There's a disconnect.
gap somewhere. There is a disconnect, and we've tried several ways to write the report. And we just haven't hit it yet. And I think that's, that's, we're never going to solve that until we know, is it because we're not coming with a lot of facts and figures that they're saying no to something? Is it because, for example, the sunset and cocktails? First it was a legal issue, then it wasn't a legal issue, and it was just not, if you're not interested in something, when we present it to you, tell us, we're not interested in this right now, and this is why.
Be nice.
Yeah, and then we don't spend every
Months.
single meeting trying to decide, well, how can we reposition it?
Right.
We didn't put this word in there, or they didn't see that word. It's crazy.
I'll just mention this and I'm gonna keep it, the person who told me, let's keep it anonymous. Another member of another committee, another committee in Ocean Pines told me that periodically some, people will come to her and say, hey, I'd really like it if they did. I really would like it if they did this,
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
And they were getting, since that committee felt they didn't always get a response, they're telling those individuals, like, why don't you go to info@oceanpines.org and it suggests that. And they've seen things go into effect after it was.
Mhm.
So in other words, there's enough of a disconnect that this committee member and other members of her committee felt compelled, rather than we'll present it, why don't you just go to info@oceanpines.org?
Mhm.
And some of the things that were recommended got put into place.
And I have on occasion some things there as well. So I think that's something we should keep in
I
mind.
think it speaks to the role of the committees in
Also,
Ocean Pines.
that too,
Or
That's
like,
kind of interesting.
that too.
Well,
Go ahead, say it.
I have had multiple comments and I've been talking to you guys and I think that when you let me,
phone?
yes, I
Oh.
think you mute me.
Oh,
Because I kept unmuting myself and everything.
I
So
actually, said, okay, thank
you
you.
said, who is that?
Yes,
That's
because
why
I
sent
thought in
him
the
a-
minutes, I thought we had,
Yeah.
we needed a name.
Yeah.
And so that's why I said, oh, there's somebody there, should we ask their name? And I didn't hear.
then it
That's why
disappeared.
Yeah.
I sent you the email this morning, because I had a licensing class that ended right at
Ah.
11:30. I said I will be joining by phone and I will be getting in the car.
Oh, I
and-
didn't realize that.
ASAP.
Same here, so.
That's okay, but
Oh, I don't know.
when you're talking about the swiping and stuff, I have never gone into a pool where they haven't swiped my card. So I'm so curious, what pool is it or?
Are you a swim team? Are you a
Yes.
swim member? That's
Yes.
why. If you say I'm a swim member, they'll swipe your card. If you say, yes, I'm an Ocean Pines Association member, I'm
Resident?
doing the drop-in rate, they don't check your card at all.
Okay,
So
I hear what
again,
you're
you
saying
could be,
now.
you
Okay.
could be somebody who lives in Berlin and says, oh yeah, I live on 200 Ocean Parkway. Yeah, give me, and
That's
then
what I was
they'll
trying to
give you the
understand, because I've
association
never gone
number.
in where they didn't swipe
Right,
me in.
that's 'cause
So
you're a
that's-
Yeah.
That's,
Swim member. That
okay,
makes a difference.
that makes sense.
And we need to, if we bring this up again, because I seem to remember that there was conversation, well, yes, they do swipe their cards. No, not everybody, not the
Mhm.
drop-ins, just
Okay.
just if you say,
Right.
I'm a swim member.
And the other thing is for the swim classes that were in the evening, will you advertise them? And, I get that we're gonna have a lot of drop-ins for that, because so many people who come and are visiting and then see the flyers, the brochures or
And they
whatever,
know that.
they're the ones who love to come in. And then when they come back and visit mom, grandma, whoever else is here, then they continue to drop into those classes. But, they're not gonna sign up for them because they're not here regularly. But I do
Right.
believe we get a lot of drop-ins
Yeah.
from people who are visiting over the
On
summer.
vacation,
Vacation.
right?
Just figure out the percentage, like at a museum that I help them with operations. We know if, 12 people, pre-register to come to the museum that day, we know that we're gonna have about 60 guests for the
Right.
entire day. Because we have those percentages. Is it
Mhm.
some days 56? Is it some days 65? Yes. But it's within, it's within a certain, percentage that you can put your hands on.
Absolutely.
That's all you need to really do, is just see where that, percentage is, and then that's what you figure out. And it could be different also by time of year. It's different at the museum in the summer versus in the winter. So you just have to do some analysis and then you're pretty much guaranteed to know it's gonna be profitable or it's not.
Right. And to your point with people who sign up, I mean, it's always a full class and usually 6 to 8 people sign up for it,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah.
But it's always full. Makes sense.
And Tracy, just so you know, this is Mary, and she has applied to be on the committee.
Hi, Mary.
And
How are
Mary,
you?
this is Tracy.
Hi.
Hi, Tracy. Tracy,
Nice
what's
to-
your last name?
Riddell.
You look familiar to me. I don't know why. Probably maybe saw you at the pool last summer.
I was gonna say, I guarantee that's right.
Yeah, I practically live at the pool during the summer when we're down there. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Gary, I wanted, if I may speak, one of the things, and being new, I've only been in the community for a year. One of the things that I was very curious about is I joined personally because I'm a swimmer. You know, I love aquatics. If I don't do it 5 times a week, I'm unhappy. And I'm down there, I'm still working, so I'm still not down there full time or anything. So I joined that. I joined the beach club parking, which I love, by the way. Don't ever get rid of that. That's awesome. But my daughter comes down almost every weekend with my granddaughter. So we paid for her when they would go to the pool too. But I think part of the confusion for me as a newbie is, you know, a resident I own. And when I went to get my card, they said, well, are they on? This was the question I got asked by the receptionist behind the glass. Were they on your tax forms? I'm like, no. I mean, they're not dependent. She said they have to be dependents in order to get that membership. And I'm like, well, yeah, well, what about, and this is why we might get pushback from the bigger board. But there's a lot of rentals in Ocean Pines, a whole lot of rentals from what I understand. We don't rent ours out, but I think there are. So it's a handicap to them renting if we implement something too stringent, because one of the perks is they're open pools to anybody. So I don't know. I was just wondering if there's any conversation that we look at how the memberships are and who's valid and who's not valid, and maybe update them and make that proposal. Because it just seems a little confusing to me. And I agree. I went, as I said, I'm at the pool a lot, and usually Mumford's, and you know, we could see a lot of folks from outside our community coming in, which is fine. You know, hopefully we make money off them. But it's just, you know, I think that might be some of the pushback is people are afraid to lose whatever that perk is for the people that are renting their homes. I don't know, and I could be totally wrong. You guys have been around a lot longer than me.
So people who are renting, they have to pay the non-resident rate?
No, they pay the resident.
Okay.
Short term and long term. They could be running for 3 days and they get to pay the resident rate. If they're a long-term rental, they're here a full year, they pay the resident rate. I sort of can get that. I can't get behind the short-term rentals paying the resident rate. They're not residents. They don't pay into the fees. They don't have a dog in this fight, you know, they don't, not responsible for, you know, picking up their trash around the pool and that kind of, you know, they don't feel like it's theirs. I don't know, I just don't get it, but I guess it's always been that way.
I think part of the issue is that the owner of the property is paying the HOA fees
Right.
and the assessments. So somehow that plays into them thinking that it's okay for them to have the resident rate. I'm not sure I agree with that either.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
they
think
get the
that,
rate for themselves.
yeah, I think
That's
that's,
payer.
So question being like in golf, when golfers come in,
It's a good-
what rate do they get? Let's look
That is
into
a
that
good
and see.
question. I'm not sure. I brought up golf earlier and how
I know, that's-
I was just, as I was
That's why
saying
I
it,
was keen on
yeah.
that, because I'm thinking that's a
I'll
good
look into
question
it.
to ask, to see, because what are the other amenities doing?
Mhm.
So it's,
I'll look into that.
yeah,
I have one bit of information. Golf cart packages,
Yeah,
price is the same for residents and non-residents. So I don't know if that,
Yeah,
if you can come drop in and get it for a week or whatever.
yeah,
I don't know
that's
if that
true. I
works.
think you're right. The golf cart packages are the same. It's the tee times, I think, that are affected by whether you're a association member or not. I don't know, Do you have a golfer in your, are you a golfer?
No.
I have a golfer in my family. Let me check with her again.
I just look at our budget.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm just really curious about that.
Horse rate.
So I don't even know what is a golf court package. It means when you play, you get a golf court.
Mhm.
So,
So you're not walking, you know?
yeah, okay.
Yeah, but it's a package more than just an additional fee for the card, how you pay for your tea time.
No, does it come with
And then-
bottles of water or something?
then-
So then
I don't think so. And then the times too are, you know, if you play at certain times, you pay more money than at
Right.
other times.
So but that,
Well, because they save the peak times
Right.
for,
Yeah.
I mean, can we do something like that at the pools? If golf can
There
do
would
it.
be no way to keep track of that because you got those
Oh my
people coming
God.
in early in the morning and
Yeah, you kind of already have that in that if you're a
You're
swim
there.
member, you get to swim early.
Early, yeah.
I don't know.
Any other issues to discuss today?
well,
Okay,
the meeting,
the next meeting
Oh,
is going to be on Thursday, February 13th, 11:30, right here.
at 11:30.
Yep.
Okay.
very nice to see you all.
Yes, happy New Year, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.